I twisted the key harder, thinking maybe I was tired from the drive. The metal scraped against brass that shouldn't be there. New locks, shiny, installed recently. Through the living room window, I could see Diane moving around inside. My stepmother. She glanced toward the door, saw me standing there with my suitcase, and smiled. Actually smiled. I knocked, rang the doorbell, knocked again. The door opened 6 inches. The chain lock was on. "You don't live here anymore," Diane said. Her voice was calm, practiced, like she had been rehearsing this moment. "What are you talking about? I've lived here my whole life." "Not anymore. This is my house now. You need to leave." "Diane, open the door. Let me in so we can talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. Your father and I discussed it. You're an adult. It's time you found your own place." She closed the door. I heard the deadbolt slide into place. I stood there, key still in my hand, trying to understand what just happened. I had been gone 3 days. 3 days for a work conference in Denver. I left on a Tuesday morning. Everything was normal. Now it was Friday afternoon, and I was locked out of my own home. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Dad was calling. I answered fast, expecting him to be confused or angry, expecting him to fix this. "Dad, Diane changed the locks. She won't let me in." "Riley." His voice sounded flat, rehearsed, just like Diane's. "We need to talk about boundaries." "Boundaries? I'm locked out of the house. Diane feels like you've been taking advantage of our hospitality. You're 28 years old. It's time you lived independently." "Taking advantage? I pay rent. I help with bills." "You contribute?" "Yes, but this is our home. Diane and I need our space. Our home, not my home. Not the house Mom bought before she died. Our home. Is this really happening right now?" "It's for the best," Dad said. His voice was tired, defeated. "You'll understand eventually. Diane just wants what's best for everyone. Where am I supposed to go? You're resourceful. You'll figure it out. I have to go now." He hung up. I stood there, phone against my ear, listening to silence. The call had lasted 47 seconds. 20 years of living in this house, and I got 47 seconds. I turned toward my car, planning to drive to a hotel. That's when I saw them. 3 large black trash bags sitting beside the garage. My name was written on each one in silver marker. I opened the first bag. My clothes were stuffed inside, wrinkled and bunched together. No care taken, just thrown in like garbage. The second bag had books, photo frames, bathroom items, things from my bedroom mixed with things from my bathroom, all jumbled. The third bag made my hands shake. Mom's jewelry box, the one she left me, the one that was supposed to stay on my dresser forever. It was tossed in with old shoes and charging cables. I opened the jewelry box right there on the driveway. Everything was still inside, but seeing it treated like trash made my chest tight. Mrs. Patterson from next door was watching from her front yard. She quickly looked away when our eyes met. How long had she been watching? Did she see Diane put these bags out here? The humiliation burned worse than the lockout itself. This wasn't done in private. This was meant to be public, meant to embarrass me. I checked the bags again, looking for my important papers. Birth certificate, social security card, car title, bank statements. They weren't there. My documents were still inside. Diane had my personal information, and I couldn't get to it. Let me back up. My name is Riley Parker. I'm 28 years old, and until 3 hours ago, I thought I lived in the house I grew up in. I left for Denver on Tuesday for a tech conference. My company sent me to learn about new software systems. 3 days, 2 nights, fully paid. I packed a small suitcase, told Dad and Diane I'd be back Friday afternoon, and left. No arguments before I left. No tension. Diane even asked me to bring her back some of those chocolate-covered almonds they sell at the airport. She seemed friendly. Now I understood. She was happy because she already had a plan. The locks were probably being changed while I sat in a conference room on Wednesday morning. This wasn't a sudden decision. This was calculated, organized, planned down to the trash bags with my name on them. I stood in the driveway trying to figure out my next move. I could call the police, but what would I say? My family locked me out? That's a civil matter. They'd tell me to get a lawyer. I could break a window, but that would make me the criminal. Or I could think. Really think about why I felt so confident leaving for 3 days in the first place. I never actually moved out of this house. Not really. After college, I got a job in tech support, then moved up to software development. Good money. I could have afforded my own apartment. But Dad asked me to stay. The house is too big for just us, he said. Your mother would want you here. So I stayed. I paid rent, $500 a month, directly into Dad's account. I bought my own groceries. I cleaned. I helped with repairs. But it was more than that. When the furnace broke 2 winters ago, I paid half the replacement cost, $3,000. When the roof needed work last spring, I covered the insurance deductible, $2,000 more. I never kept receipts, never asked for the money back. They were family. This was my home. You help family. Diane moved in 4 years ago, 6 years after Mom died. She changed things slowly. New curtains, different furniture. Mom's pictures came down one by one. We need to move forward, she'd say. I let it happen. I was trying to be mature about it. Dad seemed happy again. That mattered. But there was one thing I never let go of. One bill I always paid myself. The mortgage. I sat in my car and opened my banking app. My hands were shaking, but I needed to see it in black and white. There it was. The automatic payment that cleared this morning. $2,347. Paid from my account to Great Western Mortgage Company. The same payment that cleared last month, and the month before, and every month for the past 4 years. I scrolled back through my transaction history. 4 years of payments. $57,628 total. My finger hovered over the screen. I pulled up the mortgage company's website and logged into the account. The account that was in my name. Not Dad's. Not Diane's. Mine. When Diane moved in, Dad wanted to refinance. His credit was bad from Mom's medical bills. The bank wouldn't approve him a loan. So I co-signed. My good credit, my income, my responsibility. Just a formality, Dad said. I'll make the payments. He made exactly 3 payments before asking if I could help out temporarily. That temporary help turned into 4 years of me paying the entire mortgage. I kept scrolling. I found the insurance auto pay. Also my account. The property tax escrow. Also my account. I pulled up my email on my phone and searched for Great Western Mortgage. Hundreds of emails, payment confirmations, tax statements, insurance notices, all addressed to me. Riley Parker, primary account holder. I found the original refinancing documents from 4 years ago. I downloaded them when we signed just to keep records. I opened the PDF. There were 2 signatures on the mortgage, mine and Dad's. Co-borrowers, equal responsibility. But the payment history showed only my bank account, only my money. I scrolled further and found the property insurance documents. I was listed as an insured party. My name appeared on the policy alongside Dad's. The tax assessment records showed both our names as property owners. Diane's name appeared nowhere. Not on the mortgage, not on the insurance, not on the tax records. She married Dad, yes, but marrying someone doesn't automatically put you on a house deed. She had been living in a house she didn't own, paid for by a mortgage she didn't sign, assuming she had the right to lock me out. My phone buzzed. A text from Diane. Stop sitting in the driveway! You're embarrassing yourself! Move on with your life. I stared at the message. Then I looked back at my bank account, at the mortgage payment that cleared this morning. Confidence is dangerous when it's built on assumptions. Another text came through 30 seconds later. Your father and I talked about this for weeks. You're an adult now. Adults live independently. This is us helping you grow. Helping me grow by throwing my belongings in trash bags and changing the locks while I was out of town. A third message. We're not trying to be mean. We're trying to teach you responsibility. Someday you'll thank us. The false kindness was worse than outright cruelty. At least cruelty was honest. I took screenshots of all 3 messages, saved them to a folder. Then I started a new document on my phone and began writing down everything I could remember. Dates, payments, conversations. When Dad asked me to co-sign, when I started making payments, when Diane moved in, every time I paid for repairs or upgrades. A 4th message. Your stuff is in the bags. Everything is there. We didn't throw anything away. See, we're being generous. Generous. She used the word generous. I looked at my phone, at the bank statements, at the mortgage documents. Then I looked up at the house, at the windows Mom used to open on spring mornings, at the porch where she used to read. Diane thought she was standing on solid ground. She thought she held all the power. She was wrong about a lot of things. But mostly, she was wrong about me. I wasn't going to cry or beg. I was going to think. Saturday morning, I sat across from a lawyer named Cameron Brooks. His office was small but organized. Diplomas on the wall. Files stacked neatly. I had found him through an online search. Real estate attorney. Good reviews. Available for weekend content consultations. I handed him printed copies of everything. The mortgage documents, the bank statements, the text messages, the payment history. He read through it all silently. The longer he read, the quieter the room became. Finally, he looked up. "This is straightforward," he said. "You're a co-borrower on the mortgage. You've been making the payments. Your stepmother has no legal standing to evict you." Can she do that? Just lock me out? No. Self-help eviction is illegal. She can't change locks and remove your belongings without a court order, especially when you're actually on the mortgage. He paused. "Does she know you're on the mortgage?" I thought about it. "I don't think so. Dad refinanced before she moved in. I don't think he ever told her about my part in it. And you've been paying this whole time?" "Every month." 4 years. Brooks leaned back in his chair. He wasn't smiling, but something had shifted in his expression. "Do they know this?" he asked. "That you're the one paying?" "I don't think so. The money comes from my account, but it goes straight to the mortgage company. Dad might not even check." Brooks nodded slowly. "That gives us leverage." Brooks explained my options. I could call the police and report an illegal eviction. I could file for emergency access to the property. I could do both. "What would you recommend?" I asked. "Normally, I'd say move fast, get back in immediately." He tapped the stack of papers. "But in this case, you have time and information they don't have." "What do you mean?" "They think they're in control. They think you're powerless. Let them think that for a few more days." He looked at me carefully. "Unless you need immediate access to the house?" I thought about it. I had grabbed my laptop before leaving for Denver. My phone. My wallet. Everything truly important. The stuff in the bags was just things. "I can stay with a friend," I said. "Then here's what I suggest. Don't confront them yet. Don't tell them about the mortgage. Let them feel confident. Meanwhile, we prepare paperwork. When they realize what's happening, it'll be too late to fix their mistake." I had spent my whole life being the person who smoothed things over, who kept the peace, who made things easier for everyone else. Maybe it was time to be someone different. "Let's do it," I said. Brooks pulled out a legal pad and started writing. On Monday morning, I logged into my bank account and clicked on the mortgage auto pay. My finger hovered over the pause payment button. I wasn't canceling it, just pausing it. One missed payment wouldn't ruin my credit. It would just send notices. I clicked the button. A confirmation screen appeared. Payment paused, resume anytime. The next payment was scheduled for the 15th. That was 2 weeks away. In 2 weeks, when the payment didn't go through, the mortgage company would send notices. Those notices would go to the primary borrower, me, but they'd also send late payment warnings to the property address, to the house, where Diane would see them. I closed my laptop and went to work. My coworker Bailey asked if everything was okay. "Family stuff," I said. "It'll work out." That night, I stayed at Bailey's apartment. She had a spare room and didn't ask too many questions. I unpacked my clothes from the trash bags, hung them in her closet, and tried to sleep. My phone stayed silent for 3 days. No calls from Dad. No texts from Diane. They were happy I was gone. On Thursday, Dad called. His voice was different this time. Higher. Stressed. "Riley, did something happen with the mortgage payment?" I let the silence sit for a moment. "What do you mean?" "The bank sent a notice. They said the payment didn't clear, but I thought you had automatic payments set up?" "I do," I said. I did. I paused them." "You paused them? Why would you do that?" "Because I'm not living there anymore. Remember, Diane said I was taking advantage of your hospitality, so I figured I should stop paying for a house I'm not allowed to live in." More silence. I could hear him breathing. "Riley, you can't just stop making payments." "Why not?" "It's my money." "My bank account." "But the house that Diane locked me out of? That house? This isn't the time to be petty. The mortgage has to be paid." "Then you should pay it, Dad. It's your house, right? Yours and Diane's?" His voice shifted from panic to frustration. "You know we don't have that kind of money right now. Things are tight. Things have been tight for 4 years. That's why I've been paying. So you're going to punish us by destroying the house finances? That's childish, Riley. What's childish is locking your daughter out while she's out of town. Silence again. Then, we needed space, family space. We weren't trying to hurt you. Why was I locked out, Dad? He didn't have a good answer. He tried several. Diane thought it would be easier this way. Easier than what? A conversation? You have to understand her perspective. She's been feeling like a guest in her own home. She's been living there 4 years. I've been living there 28. That's not fair, Riley. What's not fair is coming home to trash bags and new locks. He tried another approach. Can we talk about this in person, like adults? Adults don't change locks while people are out of town. Adults have conversations. We're having one now. No, Dad. You called because the mortgage payment didn't clear. Not because you locked me out. Not because you miss me. Because you need money. I heard him take a breath. When he spoke again, his voice was different, smaller. What do you want? I want to know why you let this happen. It's complicated. It's really not. Diane wanted me gone. You agreed. That's not complicated. That's a choice. Riley, please, can we just fix the mortgage issue first? Then we'll talk about everything else. The mortgage isn't separate from everything else. It's the whole point. What does that mean? It means you should check who's actually on the mortgage, Dad. Really look at the paperwork. I ended the call. My hands were shaking, but I felt something I hadn't felt in days. Control. Brooks filed the papers on Friday. 3 separate documents. First, a formal notice to Diane regarding illegal eviction, citing specific laws she had broken, demanding my belongings be preserved and access to the property restored. Second, a copy of the mortgage documents proving my co-borrower status, proving I had legal right to the property. Third, a formal demand for any documents or personal property belonging to me that remained in the house. Everything was sent certified mail, requiring signature. Brooks also sent copies to Dad at his work address. Just to make sure he can't claim he didn't know, Brooks said. How long until they respond? I asked. Legally, they have 10 days. Realistically, your stepmother will probably call you within 48 hours. She called in 36 hours. Sunday afternoon, my phone showed Diane's number. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Riley. Her voice was tight, controlled. We need to talk. About what? These letters you sent. These legal threats. This is unnecessary. Is it? We're family. We can work this out without lawyers. We were family when you locked me out, too. She made a frustrated sound. You're taking this too personally. This was never about hurting you. Just about taking my house. It's not your house. Her control slipped. You don't own this house. Actually, I'm a co-borrower on the mortgage. So legally, yes, I do have ownership rights. Silence. Real silence. The kind that means someone just learned something that changes everything. That can't be right, she said finally. Check the documents your lawyer received, page 3. My signature next to my father's. Michael said he refinanced a loan. He refinanced with a co-signer, me, because his credit wasn't good enough alone. More silence. Then, you can't just stop paying the mortgage. That's financial abuse. I almost laughed. Financial abuse? I've paid $57,000 over 4 years for a house you just locked me out of and I'm the one committing financial abuse? This is blackmail. No, this is consequences. You wanted me out. I'm out. But I'm not paying for a house I'm not allowed to live in. So what do you want? Money? I want the locks changed back. I want my belongings returned properly. And I want a written agreement about what happens next. This is insane. So was putting my mother's jewelry in a trash bag. Diane's voice softened. This was her trying to manipulate. I recognized the tone. Riley, listen. I'm sorry about the bags. I was rushing. I should have been more careful with your mother's things. You should have been more careful about a lot of things. You're right. I was wrong. Can we move past this? Can we sit down and talk like reasonable people? What do you want to talk about? Living arrangements, money, whatever you need. We all made mistakes here. We all made mistakes. As if I had done something wrong by going to a work conference. What mistake did I make? I asked. You didn't communicate. You didn't tell us you were upset about things. I wasn't upset until I came home to new locks. Okay, fine. I made mistakes. I'm admitting that. Can we please just fix this? She was scared. I could hear it under the sweetness. She had talked to a lawyer, or Dad had, and they had explained exactly how bad this looked. I'm willing to fix it, I said, but on my terms, not yours. What terms? I'll send them through my lawyer. Everything in writing. We don't need lawyers for this. Yes, we do. You changed the locks without warning. I need legal protection now. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to apologize. No, you're trying to avoid consequences. There's a difference. I hung up. She called back immediately. I didn't answer. She called 3 more times. Then she texted, "You're being unreasonable. We raised you better than this. Your father is heartbroken." Then, 40 minutes later, "Fine. You want to play legal games? We'll see how that works out for you. We have rights too." I screenshot every message. Then she called again. This time I answered. I put the phone on speaker and started a voice recording app. "Riley, I need you to understand something." Her voice was different now. Harder. "This house belonged to Michael before I came along. We were generous letting you stay as long as we did. You don't get to hold the mortgage hostage just because you're upset." "I'm not holding anything hostage. I'm just not paying for a house I'm locked out of." "You signed that mortgage to help your father. It's your responsibility." "Responsibility goes both ways. I fulfilled mine for 4 years. Alone. While being treated like a guest in my own home." "That's not true. We always treated you well. You threw my belongings in trash bags and changed the locks while I was out of town. Because you needed to move out anyway. You're almost 30 years old. It's embarrassing that you still live with your parents." There it was, the real reason. Not space, not boundaries, embarrassment. "What else are you embarrassed about?" I asked. "Excuse me, what else embarrasses you about me?" She hesitated, then couldn't help herself. "Fine. You want honesty? You've been freeloading for years, using this house as cheap rent while you save money, never contributing equally. Your father and I pay for everything while you coast." "I paid the entire mortgage for 4 years. That's not the same as paying your fair share." I smiled, even though she couldn't see it. "Keep talking." And she did. For 12 minutes, Diane talked about how I didn't contribute enough, about how I should have moved out years ago, about how the house was never really mine because my name wasn't on the deed, only the mortgage. "There's a difference between paying bills and owning property," she said. "Michael owns this house. I'm his wife. That makes it ours. You were just helping out. Just helping out by paying $2,000 every month. You were living there rent-free otherwise." "I paid $500 rent every month too, plus half the utilities. That's nothing compared to the mortgage." "You're right," I said. "So I should probably stop paying the mortgage. You can't do that. It'll ruin your credit and your housing." "So I guess we both have something to lose." She was quiet for a moment. "Then what do you really want, Riley? Just tell me." "I want acknowledgement that what you did was wrong." "Fine, it was wrong. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Now will you pay the mortgage? I want it in writing." This is absurd. This is legal protection. You already locked me out once. I need guarantees. We're not signing anything. This is our house. Then pay your own mortgage. I ended the call. My lawyer was going to love this recording. The court date came faster than expected. Brooks filed for emergency relief, citing illegal eviction and property rights disputes. We didn't go to a big courtroom. Just a conference room with a judge, my lawyer, Diane's lawyer, and Dad. Diane looked furious. Dad looked defeated. The judge was a woman in her 50s who seemed tired of family disputes. "Let me make sure I understand," she said, reading from the file. "Miss Parker is a co-borrower on the property mortgage. She's been making payments for 4 years. Her stepmother changed the locks while she was traveling and removed her belongings. Is that correct?" Diane's lawyer, a man in an expensive suit, nodded reluctantly. "The situation is more nuanced. It's a yes or no question." "Yes, Your Honor." The judge turned to Diane. "Mrs. Parker, did you have legal grounds to evict your stepdaughter?" "She's an adult. We felt it was time." "Did you go through proper eviction procedures? File notices? Go to court?" "No, but then you had no legal grounds." The judge looked at the papers again. "I'm ordering immediate restoration of access. The locks will be changed to the original keys within 24 hours. All personal property will be returned undamaged." "Your Honor," Diane's lawyer stood. "My client has concerns about Miss Parker's intentions regarding the property." "What intentions?" "She's withholding mortgage payments." The judge looked at me. "Is that true?" "Yes, Your Honor. I paused payments after being illegally evicted. Understandable. You're not required to pay for housing you're denied access to. She turned to Dad. Mr. Parker, you're also on this mortgage? Dad nodded, not meeting anyone's eyes. Then you're responsible for payments too. Figure it out. She signed papers, handed them to Brooks. Anything else? Your Honor, my client would like terms established for her continued residency. The judge looked exhausted. Work it out between yourselves. You have legal access now, Miss Parker. What you do with it is up to you. We left the courthouse. Dad followed me to the parking lot. Riley, wait. I stopped. Turned around. He looked older than I remembered. Tired, worn down. I didn't know it would go this far, he said. You knew when you let Diane change the locks. I thought you'd just find an apartment. Move on. I didn't think you'd lawyer up. What did you think I'd do? Except being thrown out? He rubbed his face. I don't know. I wasn't thinking clearly. Why did you let this happen, Dad? He was quiet for a long time. Then, because it was easier than fighting with Diane. She wanted you gone. She'd been asking for months. I kept saying no. Then she just did it while you were away, and I didn't have the energy to fight anymore. So you chose her comfort over my home. It's not that simple. It really is. You had a choice. You made it. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? I am. That I was wrong? I was, but I can't undo it now. You could have undone it Friday when I called. You could have told Diane to unlock the door. You didn't. I know. We stood there in the parking lot, a father who chose peace over protection. A daughter who finally understood. I'm going back to the house, I said. I need to figure out what happens next. Are you going to make us leave? I don't know yet. That's fair, he said quietly. That's more than fair. I went back to the house that evening. The locks had been changed to the originals, as ordered. My key turned smoothly. Inside, everything was different. Diane had redecorated again while I was gone. New curtains, new throw pillows, like she was erasing me even from the decoration choices. My bedroom looked untouched but felt wrong, like it wasn't mine anymore. I sat on my bed and made a list of options. Option 1, stay here. Make Diane and Dad uncomfortable until they leave or things improve. Option 2, rent out my room and move somewhere else. Keep paying the mortgage. Maintain ownership. Option 3, force a sale. Split the equity 3 ways. Option 4, make them buy out my half of the mortgage responsibility. I texted Brooks, what are my legal options for the property long term? He responded with a list. It was longer than I expected. That night, Dad knocked on my bedroom door. Can we talk? About what? You said you wanted terms. Let's discuss them. We sat at the kitchen table. Diane wasn't home. Dad said she was staying at a friend's house. I'll pay the mortgage, Dad said. Going forward, you shouldn't have to carry that alone anymore. Can you afford it? I'll figure it out. I'll pick up extra shifts. What about Diane? What about her? Is she going to accept me living here? Dad looked down at his hands. Honestly, probably not. She's humiliated by the court thing, by the lawyer, by all of it. So what's the solution? I think, he took a breath. I think you should stay. This is your home. It was always your home. And if Diane can't accept that, she can leave. I stared at him. You'd choose me over her? I should have chosen you from the start. Diane returned 3 days later. She didn't apologize. She just moved around the house like I was invisible. But she tested the boundaries immediately. She asked Dad to tell me to keep my shoes in my room, to not leave dishes in the sink, to check before having friends over. After a week of this, I sat them both down. Here are the terms, I said. I'm staying. This is my legal residence and I'm on the mortgage. If you want me to leave, you'll need to buy out my share. How much? Diane asked coldly. My lawyer estimated my equity at about $40,000, plus compensation for the 4 years of solo payments, so roughly $90,000 total. Her face went white. We don't have that kind of money. Then we coexist, respectfully, with boundaries that protect everyone. What boundaries? I pulled out a printed list. I pay half the mortgage going forward. You pay half. We split utilities evenly. No one changes locks or removes anyone's belongings. No one has guests without notifying the household. And we respect each other's space. Dad nodded slowly. That seems fair. Diane stood up. This is ridiculous. I'm not living under contract in my own home. Then you have 10 days to decide if you're staying or leaving, I said calmly, because those are the terms. She stared at me, waiting for me to back down. I didn't. Fine, she said finally. Have it your way. She left the room. 2 days later, she moved out. The house felt different with just Dad and me. Quieter, calmer. We didn't talk much at first. Both of us were processing everything that happened. But slowly we started having real conversations. About Mom. About his choices. About what family actually meant. I failed you, he said one night. Not just with Diane. With everything. I should have protected you better. Yeah, you should have. I don't know how to fix it. You can't fix it. You can just do better going forward. He nodded. I'm trying. And he was. He took over lawn maintenance. He started paying bills on time. He asked about my day and actually listened to the answers. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. I eventually moved out 6 months later. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. I found an apartment near work. Small but mine. Dad refinanced the house in his name only. I signed off on the mortgage, and he paid me $15,000 for my equity share. It wasn't the full $90,000, but it was fair for a quick settlement. What will you do with the house? I asked when we signed the papers. Live in it. Take care of it. Try to remember what it meant to your mother. And Diane? She filed for divorce last month. I wasn't surprised. 3 months after I moved out, I got a text from Diane. I want to apologize for how things ended. I was wrong about a lot of things. I hope we can start over. I read it several times, looking for the catch, the manipulation, the hidden ask. But maybe there wasn't one. Maybe she just wanted to clear her conscience. I typed a response. I appreciate the apology. I don't think we'll be starting over, though. Some things can't be undone. She replied, I understand. I just wanted you to know I regret how I handled everything. I thought about responding, about explaining all the ways she had hurt me, all the years of subtle cruelty. But what was the point? I deleted the message thread and blocked her number. Some people deserve second chances. She wasn't one of them. Dad and I still talk every week about work. I ask about the house. We're rebuilding slowly. It'll never be what it was. But maybe it can be something honest. Something real. I'm sitting in my apartment now, typing this story. It's been a year since Diane changed those locks. People ask if I regret how it all played out, if I wish I had just walked away instead of fighting. The answer is no. The locks were never really about the house. They were about power, about someone deciding I didn't matter enough to be considered. For years, I made myself small. I kept peace. I paid bills and stayed quiet and hoped that would be enough to earn my place in my own home. But earning love from people who don't value you is impossible. And that house stopped being about the building. It became about whether I would stand up for myself. I did. And in doing that, I learned something important. Home isn't a place you inherit or pay for or fight to keep. Home is where people see you. Actually see you. Where your presence matters. That house stopped being home long before Diane changed the locks. The locks just made it obvious. Now I have a small apartment with plants in the window and photos on the walls. I have friends who show up. I have work I'm proud of. I have a father who's trying to do better. And I have something else. Something I didn't have before. I have the knowledge that I don't shrink anymore. That I know my worth. That when someone tries to lock me out of my own life, I know exactly what to do. I turn the key, walk inside, and reclaim what's mine.